For the rest of the meeting if you'd like, but I understand if you'd like to leave as well.
He actually will be attending some of our meetings, at least for the starts.
Okay.
At some times, in and out, and might even at a time or two make some presentations certain times of the year. So.
Okay.
Thank
Right.
you.
All right. Well, thank you. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. I appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda, principal's report. Ms. Barilla.
So enrollment has changed from what you guys have on there, but it's changed again from what I have on here because Ms. Barilla received 2 more withdrawal requests today. So we're actually still 150, we're at 150 total enrollment.
K through 12?
150 total, 146 K through 12. The pre-K 3 and pre-K 4 numbers stayed the same. Elementary is down to 72 kids, 26 at the middle school, and 48 at the high school. Football, there are 10 football players out for the program, and we have 1 who's injured right now, so he's not playing. Volleyball, we have 17 total, junior high and high school. So they're moving up the 2 8th graders to create a team of varsity for 9 and 8 junior high. Is that right, Christine? Capturing kids' hearts, we had the training for staff 2 days on July 29th and 30th. So we had 2 days. It was really a great training. I think the staff learned a lot. It's been neat to be in the classrooms and watch the teachers put into practice what we've learned. So I know Mr. Patterson, the English teacher, did do the name game with all the kids. So the kids all have an adjective attached to their name. It had to be a positive adjective. If you ask them, they won't tell you. It kind of takes them a little bit to get them to tell you their names, but some of them will tell you. We're doing the social contracts. All the classrooms already have a social contract. Ms. LeMay will be working with student council meeting tomorrow, and they will be doing a school-wide social contract. So they'll be looking at all the social contracts from the classroom and picking out the commonalities that will be posted, like in the cafeteria, for assemblies, in the gym maybe, in the library. And the elementary has already started working on that as well. So there's some very good positive things going on with capturing kids' hearts.
Good.
Excited to see that. Yonder Bag updates, they are on back order right now. So as of the 12th, so last Thursday, they still couldn't give me a shipping date. But cell phones seem to be okay for right now. We have had to call a couple of parents to come and pick up cell phones. And we've been told at the office that they're just going to keep them at home from now on. So, and teachers are doing a better job at picking them up at the beginning of the class. So,
Questions for Ms. Barilla?
How was the reactions of the parents?
when we took their phones
Yeah, when are they coming to pick them up now since we changed that rule?
to the first offense, they have to come and pick them up. They're just saying that they're just not going to send it with the students anymore. But there's no, I mean, we're pretty much being supported, and it's more so at the middle school level. So even at duty, at lunch duty, Miss Barilla and I don't see the kids playing on their cell phones. So either they're not bringing them to school or they're keeping them in their bags because they already know we're implementing it when the Yonder Bag comes. And then in the high school, you have your few kids that'll pull them out at lunchtime, but they're not as prevalent as they were last year. So.
How's the vaping?
Better now that we've got it online. So we'll see.
I had a couple of questions on that. On the disciplinary,
Uh-huh.
what is models complete? Is that just everything, like the one-day OSS and then?
No,
parent
we're
meeting and all
looking
that?
at Vector Solutions to do some training where the kids have to sit and watch videos according to vaping. So
Okay.
we're trying to get that set up through our Vector Solutions, which is what the teachers use for all of our trainings, like bloodborne pathogens, the diabetes training. But we do have access for the kids. We're trying to get them to complete that.
Okay, yeah, I was looking at the disciplinary. There you go.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and I didn't know what that was. I didn't know if it was schooling online or something about
Just
that.
modules, videos through the Vector solution.
Ms. Barella, I apologize if you went over this the last meeting. I missed the last meeting. What did you say vaping is better now that we're online? What does that mean?
So our sensors and our cameras weren't communicating right. Our times, when I got the alert about our sensors and cameras going off, it wasn't matching when it actually happened. So it was like an hour
So now it's
delayed.
live?
Now it's live, yes. We were able to get tech to fix it, so
Have we caught anybody this school year already?
we have.
Did the system catch it?
Mhm.
Did you take away their pins or vapes or?
Yes, we confiscate them and then I have somewhere where I lock them up, so,
Okay.
but yes.
Any other questions for Ms. Brewer?
I will say my 2 elementary students are very excited about the capturing kids' hearts. They told me all about it and they are excited, so.
Even the high school kids, there's a few that want to say they're not buying into it, but for the most part, they're all following suit, so I'm excited to see where it goes and hopefully it stays positive.
Well, and then they come back and do like little boosters, which will help. So it stays in everyone's mind, you know what I
Yes.
mean? It's not just something that you train for and then it goes away.
Right.
They keep
We're
coming
gonna
back.
have walkthroughs starting in September, is that right, Mr. Patterson?
September 3rd, they'll be back to meet with admin, to train us on what we're doing, and then a couple of weeks after that, they'll be back and coming in with staff and being in the classrooms, giving teachers feedback on what they're doing, what's
Look at
working,
their
what's,
contracts
so.
and stuff.
Mhm.
That's good.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mr. Patterson.
And I'm gonna tag off, we'll skip around mine for a minute, since we talked about capturing kids' hearts and vaping, two comments I wanted to make on that. Capturing kids' hearts, walking around, talking to our students, talking to staff, talking to our guests that come into the building from other places to work. The atmosphere is very positive right now. There'll be hiccups in the road, there'll be bumps in the road as we do this, as we move forward, and we got to stay the course. But as a whole, when you walk up and down the halls, it's a different atmosphere. Mr. Henfield was here earlier. I took him in the classroom and just showed him one of the classrooms of the social contracts, the affirmations that they're doing. This also, part of the classroom management piece of this is our teachers, when they're dealing with an issue, they're teaching students how to advocate for each other. For example, if my friend, Mr. Cern over here is acting up and I'm his friend, there's a hand signal I can give him to say, man, put it out, you're in trouble. But you don't always say anything, it's just hand signals. There's also, if, I'm being a smart aleck and I pop off and say something bad about Mr. Barella, the students call a foul. And so if there's, one of the things there is, if there's one put down, there's two put ups. So if I put Mr. Barella down, I now have to come up with 2 compliments about him that are real compliments. It can't just be all like your shoes. I mean, it puts some thought in it. So it teaches the students the how to be socially appropriate, I guess is a good way to do it. When a student's in trouble, there's 4 questions that the teacher asks. And if they answer the 4 questions right, the kid's back on task by the time they get to the 4th question. If they don't, they go through it a couple of times, then the kid can behave out of the classroom, and then Ms. Barella gets to deal with it. Typically, it's the same 4 questions, and if they get them right, you get them back in the class and do that. But it's not taking away from classroom instruction time. It's very quick, very simple process to do, and so far, kids have responded well. There will be bumps in the road as some of the newness wears off, and that's why we spent the money to have the professionals come back in and work with us and help keep it fresh, help keep it moving forward throughout the year. And it's, like I said, it's been very good. I walked around today and talked to a couple of our IAs that have had to cover some classes already because we're short subs. And I was like, since we started this program, how do they treat you when you're in charge of the classroom? We know how they treat you when you're in the classroom helping, how they treat you in charge. And the feedback was very positive. So on that aspect, I think it's off to a good start. I think we've got good teacher buy-in. I think our staff was ready for something new. I think that's part of the reason why it's being successful. Before I go to the next, any questions on capturing kids' hearts? That's kind of want to add some things to what Ms. Barella said. You asked about vaping. One of the things that we're looking into, because the question keeps coming up, is what the vape goes off. You don't always find it in the search. I have learned that some schools in the state are actually using metal detectors to find the vapes. And so I've been working on looking into that. Is it legal? How is it legal? What can we do? They do pick up vapes because a lot of research shows that. So we're looking in other ways to try to discourage students from hiding them and doing the things they're doing. So, but it's been a positive, not positive that we've had vaping, but positive that we've got the more success at catching them and being able to move to the next steps. So,
Since we're on that, when are those classes going to be available for the kids to take them?
we're working with Vector Solutions to get them and get, because we'll have to pay for the classes. So what's the cost going to be? We haven't got that invoice yet. So, or that, not invoice, but quote. Thank you.
So it says detention until learning modules complete.
Right. So that's,
Are we still doing detention for those kids that?
not, well,
Not yet, because we don't have a set plan. It'd be like,
So, like, yeah.
it was,
Okay,
you know,
they've
Yeah,
done
that's
the
exactly
other
right.
consequences, but that one hasn't.
totally agree. I apologize.
So, that's right. Any questions on those two
Go
things?
back and do it retroactively, or we just?
yes, they'll go back and.
Construction update. That's probably the next most exciting. Abatements completed as of Thursday of the building. On Thursday, we had a pre-construction meeting with architects, PSFA, contractors. It was a very positive meeting. It was a very interesting meeting. A lot of details and facts that I was like, what does that mean? I mean, just because it's just like educators. We use acronyms all the time. Well, contractors use acronyms. You need to come out. What was that acronym? But very positive. We've got some dates that I can't announce all of them yet because we're waiting on one signature at the top that finishes off our contracts. And so they can't have notice proceed till we have that signature. That being said, this date is set. So write it down. September 16th at 10 a.m. will be the groundbreaking ceremony. About a week before that, our boots on the ground guy that will be living here during our construction will start being here. We'll probably be going around and visiting some of the closest neighbors, let them know what's going on, talk about things, tell them who the contact is. His name will be plastered everywhere. So if somebody in the community sees something or has an issue with something, he will be the first contact. And excited about that. Moncio is the lead foreman, supervisor. He'll be here every 2 weeks for meetings for a few days. But Dwayne Pino will be here on site, living here at least during the days of construction. They do a lot of 410s. They're optimistic about how fast they can get it done. Of course, those dates depend on when we start, but they're very optimistic, very excited. They came in with good ideas, good plans, and they're ready to roll. We're literally waiting on a signature from the state at the top on the contract so that we can issue a notice of notice to proceed, which we were kind of hoping to have by today, and as of 4 o'clock, we didn't have it yet. So, any questions on construction? One other thing I want to say there, the question that keeps coming up is local. What are you going to use local? How are you going to do that? And they've asked a lot of questions from, do people have this? Do they have that? They're going to be posting what type of workers they need and who to contact. And as soon as they have enough, which enough may be one, enough may be five, depending on what the position is, they'll do interviews and try to get as much local help working on our project as possible and doing those types of things. So it's getting exciting. I mean, they're excited, we're excited, the architects are excited. So
So they have a little QR code, they're on way to me, but that they're gonna send out to everywhere, we're gonna put it in Zozo News, email, so people that are interested in the community that want to have employment here, help them build a school. All they have to do is click on that and it takes them right to Librarian Sam's website for application. Yeah, it'll be
So the crew that was here, what were they getting rid of?
Grand Corps, they were getting rid of everything from asbestos to the mold to all the stuff that's had that place condemned.
Is all that cleared?
It is, they are completed and in the process, part of the reason what took so long in the process, they found places that didn't show up that needed to be abated, that once it was, they put the brakes on and said, hey, we need to get this tested. We brought the testers back in and it needed to be abated as well. That were things that didn't show up on the reports. So
Will they come test, like knocking parts of the building down? Will they come retest, or are we good with asbestos?
no, we're good with those asbestos. They're done with that. And they shouldn't be back except to get their temporary fence when we put the permanent fence up. So now they'll be back when we start other phases of the project. Them or a company like them. So any questions on that? As many of you saw, there's a gentleman that's kind of lit some emails about naming the new gym after Coach Becker.
The new gym or the new gym?
the 77 new gym.
Okay.
77 new gym. Haven't really responded or gone a whole lot with that because until we get a little further construction, not knowing where things are going to go, I don't know how much time or effort needs to be put on that, but it's really the pleasure of the board on that. So if it's something we need to have on a future agenda item, I need to know on that aspect. Y'all all have got the same emails that I've received. So on that aspect, I'm planning on, and I was waiting for this meeting to send it out. When we had our parent meeting for athletics, I jumped in and did a little insert where they talked about the drug policy and the things that they're doing about being kind of a push to start drug testing our athletes. The adults in the room, from my point of view, were like this. The kids in the room, maybe not so much.
And then in Hollis?
Yeah, they didn't run, they didn't take off and run, but the parents were. So what I want to do is set up next Wednesday a parent meeting so we can go over the policies that I had shared with y'all to look at, get some feedback on them and start that process to try to get that in place. Realistically, if everything falls perfectly, we probably have it in place by the time basketball starts. But that kind of also will be fair because basketball, everybody starts it at the same time. So that's what we're going to work on. Try to do that meeting then. Just confirmed that we're going to try to get our next PAC meeting tentatively set up for September 10th. I have Shaq there too. Shaq's the School Health Advisory Committee that came up in the audit that needs to be done yearly. It's been a while since it's been done here. And so realistically, a lot of the parents are the same parents. So we're going to kind of combine those things together, do what we need to do for Shaq, do what we need to do for PAC. Maybe as we grow, have some conversations. Do we want to look at a booster club being in it or part of it? So
What does it stand for again?
Shaq School Health Advisory Committee.
And what's the difference between that and the PAC?
So Shaq focuses on our safety plan, our menus. That's one of the reasons why Mr. Wilson will be doing some things. They need to review some menus and give us feedback on the menus, some things like that. And so it has a focus more on overall well-being. Whereas PAC, after our conversation, we're hoping very much is very focused on what are the positive things on school, what can we do to keep it moving forward, what can we do to get it running, and those types of things. So that's the goals of the two anyway. Any questions on those two things? We have the opportunity to bring the power of one team. It's a group. I've got some bios here if you want to look at them that are coming at no cost to school to do an anti-drug, anti-bullying presentation. Two of the presenters that are in it, one was a UFC fighter, a WWF, WWE wrestler, a martial arts expert, a super heavyweight champion. The other one was a power lifter that has done lifting with Arnold Schwarzenegger and do some things like that for y'all out here. They have a big history nationwide of going into schools, and they wow the kids to get their attention, to have the conversation about anti-bullying and anti-drug. And though when I say wow, nobody knows what a phone book is anymore, so they kind of have to explain that to the students, but they'll take a Houston area or a DFW area phone book and tear it in half. I mean, just tear it in half. They'll take a frying pan and roll it up into a burrito, and they're just very strong, powerful, and the whole time they're doing their parts, they're giving the message of anti-bullying and anti-drug. Ruidoso actually led the charge. They're going to Ruidoso because of the side effect. Capitan's getting them. We've got a window to have them. Escaleros get them. They're going to hit all 4 schools. And then they'll do an invite to another thing that they'll do Saturday night in Ruidoso that's away from the schools. So
Sounds good to me.
it's
It's gonna grab their attention, that's for sure.
so we're trying to attack this from every direction we can to try to get all these issues under control.
That date's not set yet, though?
Huh?
The date's not set?
Oh, yes, it is. September 5th at 1 p.m. So, sorry, it's in my notes. I just didn't read it off. Yeah, September 5th at 1 p.m. And we might, depending on some other things going on, we might include the 5th graders in it. We're still having conversation with them for sure, 6th through 12th. But we might sneak the 5th graders in there with them when we do this, just to get the conversation started early. So, school nurse, I think we're going to be able, right now we have a nurse 2 days a week. I think we have found a way for this year, it may only be for this year, but for this year to add a nurse for a 3rd day a week. So 3 out of the 4 days we'll have a nurse on campus. Football, Ms. Burrell's already kind of talked about. Staffing, teaching staff, we're fully staffed. With our numbers, I don't know that we have 2 IA positions open. It may go to 1 IA position. But we have an IA position, Ed Phillips' position open. They've been open a while. Until late this afternoon, we hadn't gotten any interest. We did get 1 person interested today that came and picked up paperwork. Good news is we have 2 bus drivers now for our routes.
Wow.
Took a lot of coaxing, and I'll probably owe him a cheeseburger or 2, but we did get a gentleman that we stole from a neighboring district to come drive for us, and he committed driving for us this year, and he's willing to do activity trips. And so between him and Mr. Allen has a backup driver. I think we're in pretty good shape. We've got 1 more driver that has talked to us that we're just waiting on paperwork that'll help with activity drivers. So we'll have hopefully 3 people we can rotate activity drivers through on our trips and stuff like that. So that was very much an answer to a lot of late night conversations. So, but I think I covered everything in my update. I know it's kind of a lengthy one. Any
Only
questions
thing,
or?
the football? I mean, I see our numbers are real low, and even said here about maybe doing a junior high team
So,
only. I
yeah.
mean,
Yeah,
we already lost 2 players from injury.
Well, we have 2 that are out temporarily. I think they'll both be back, but they're both out temporarily right now with with injury, which has us at 8 for the first game. And so we looked at that. Yeah, it's pretty thin. And
Yeah.
we looked at things. And so the coaches were batting around the ideal. Do we not do varsity? Do we just do junior high? You're still a day. You're either way you look at, and that's bringing freshmen and sophomores down to play junior high that the teams we play may not allow anyway. And so we're kind of in that area right now that, everybody still wants to play or everybody wants to push. So it's just it's where we are. The field, we've dumped a ton of water on it. The field's not great. The good news is he's a witness. They think that they can have our new field by next school year done. And so we can quit worrying about the water issues. So on that aspect, but it's where we're at. According to Mr. Allen, the coaches, several of the teams we're going to play is not much different. Their numbers are just down everywhere right now. So in participation.
I mean, we lose another player. I mean,
No,
we're playing with 7. That's
well, and we could get to the point where we're not playing, or at least for that week until injuries come back.
And then grades.
Whatever.
watch out.
Yeah, I
Grades.
know. Whatever happened to consolidating with Corona?
So what ended up with that is it's too far a drive to get here to practice. I mean, it's especially with the road construction. We would either have to practice at 6 or 7 o'clock at night, and then they got to go home that late. And then last year, the 3 that wanted to do it, once we got all the paperwork in, it backed out. All 3 backed out on doing it. So it's part of it's the distance. So.
Any other questions? Well, thank you, Mr. Patterson. Announcer report, Alan.
Hello. So first off, I wanted to introduce Marie. So she's my assistant business manager.
Oh.
I am going to be away for the next meeting, so she's going to probably come and join y'all. So she comes with a wealth of information. She's worked 20 years with Alamogordo Public Schools. She was their CPO. So, construction, she's got a lot of experience there. So I had her, she was busy at work today helping Jessica. They were both pulling all the stuff for the auditors. And so just wanted her to come kind of see how it goes. And so I just want to introduce her to the board. So she'll be doing all the accounts payable. I still have Maya. She'll be doing payroll, but Marie will be the main assistant for you guys.
Welcome.
So.
Thank you. Thank you. Very thrilled to be
Good.
with K-12.
And her and Ms. Roper have been working very diligently today with our auditors. So.
And I really appreciate her, and she's very knowledgeable.
So that was there. And then I'll go ahead and start with the financial report. I do have 3 bars for you. The first one was the pre-K. For some reason, they didn't approve the budget for the pre-K before June 30th. I don't know why. PED didn't approve a lot of the budgets it's just anyway. So it's not a lot of money, but that's $2,100 right there. For pre-K, and we can use it for kindergarten. It's for 4 and 5-year-old kids. And then the next one is for universal free lunches. So basically the state last year decided to go with free lunches. You guys are CEP, so you were already getting a pretty high reimbursement, and now you're getting 100%. So whether your CEP is 80%, so you used to would only get 80%, now you get 100. So 80% from the feds, 20% from the state. This is their estimate. And so that's that increase bar for that. And then the next one is for ESSER. So basically 52,000 remaining. We have this already planned out. It should be with the Capturing Kids' Hearts, additional compensation. We have some other stuff they approved. to get it all spent in time. Basically, this is just tying it up to basically, we had a PO in place last year for some E-rate, like infrastructure type things it wasn't paid before June. And so that kind of resulted in this carryover. But that's helping support capturing kids' heart and doing additional PD and those kind of items. So those are all I have for the bars. And then for, did you have any questions on any of the disbursement detail? Anybody else? No. Okay. Any questions on any of the POs? You can see we do have that transformer on there that was approved at the last meeting. The reports are pretty bare since we just started. You know, they're pretty bare, so there's not really a lot of data on there until a few months in. You can see we do have a year over year is quite a bit different, but that's mostly just due to the risk, premium. We have
It's 300,000 different.
yeah, so that bond payment was also in that too. So that bond payment was 561,000. So both of those, the risk premium, the bond payment. So that's what that. So we had another balloon payment. As you know, we have some balloon payments, but that was another one, and so that resulted in that big difference right there. Everything else is pretty much the same. The cash balances are in good shape. We ended the year with 1.497 million, so in operational, which is good. So kind of see those figures there. PD has been reimbursing for everything, although our first were submitted, so they're just kind of tracking along. The auditors were verifying all of that today. And then we have your cash balances for your activity funds, revenue. Again, not a lot of information, just because we're kind of new. Expenses the same way, and we do have that COVID testing, but basically, looks like we have a PO in here twice, and so I think that's what that is. So I think we probably rolled 2 over. So I'll go in and we'll delete one of those for Fund 28211. But that's all. I had the bank statements were late, so I didn't want to hold this up. We do have those reconciled. They just didn't make it in time for this report. And that's all I have. Unless you had any questions for me.
So our excuse me, our cell phone pouches have already been paid for, or?
No,
Just a PO
we
request?
ordered them, the PO, yeah.
Okay.
Those were ordered, but they're on back order.
Yeah, okay.
I do not see the volleyball girls and football boys went and did some cleanup, and they each got paid $250. I don't see that on here anyway. Am I missing it?
On the revenue,
Nothing looks like an increase for either.
Clean up for what?
They cleaned up the country club for the, help me out, I say it wrong every time. The cowbells?
Cowbells.
Yeah.
It was a cowbell.
And so they donated $250 for volleyball girls and $250 for football boys to
Oh.
do that. So they wanted to.
let me look at our deposits
Okay.
real quick. Did they send a check, you think?
They
was 2
did,
checks.
they sent 2 checks, one for the boys and one for the girls.
Okay.
And I can see this. Thank you.
Okay.
So what was deposited Wednesday? Last week
It was the prior,
or prior to that? Okay.
Yeah, because it was the end of July.
So when was it deposited?
First week of school.
Because if so, if it was deposited in August, it won't reflect on this report.
Okay,
Oh,
okay, that's.
yeah,
Let's see. Oh, 8/1.
okay.
Okay.
So it'll be on the next,
That's an answer.
next
Thank
report.
you.
Because we run a month
I'm a month
behind.
ahead, sorry.
No, you're fine. I'm just,
He wasn't gonna sleep tonight.
Well, I was thinking in July.
I'm like, well, the
and it's
activity, I don't think
August.
there was anything, so.
Thank you, sorry.
No worries.
This thing's going.
Thank you for getting me straight.
All right. Any other questions for Gavin? Moving on to the approval of the consent agenda items, bills paid and bars, increase and decreased bars.
I move to pay bills and also for the bars increases or decreases.
Second.
And moved and seconded. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed, motion carries. Item 6, consideration and approval of names to be listed as signers on the First Savings Bank for 2025. This has been beyond frustrating
Yes. So
dealing
We
with
did
First
this-
Savings Bank.
yeah. We did this back in January. And that was when we were also in transition in our, in Riley's position and who kept minutes and things like that. So we've been back, they've been through 3 or 4 different people. We've been 2 or 3 trying to get all the right papers signed and turned in. So we got all the right papers signed and turned in, but Wednesday when I went to make sure we had all the signers right, they did not. And one of the supervisor was actually there from Alamogordo and said needed very specific minutes that said who was named. Well, our minutes said that we named it, but it didn't name who got what. And so this just goes back and puts where we need to make a motion for John and John to be our signers, so that they can get it up and make sure our current board members are on the checks, so that he can change our checks to have those names on it instead of a previous board member that's no longer on the board.
So, we need to make a motion and make sure we include their names.
Yes.
So go ahead.
Okay. I move to put John Hemphill as a signer for First Savings Bank as well as John Cerna as a signer.
Okay. We moved and seconded to put the 2 Johns as signers on the checking account. Any further discussion? All those in favor say aye. All those opposed, motion carries. The legislative board resolution there on the agenda is just a typo, it shouldn't come off, so. Next regular board meeting, September 17th, and then of course the groundbreaking, September 16th,
For 10. I hope to be there.
We're all gonna be here.
10 a.m.
We're all gonna be here.
Yes.
You had a golden shovel and a hard hat.
Don't forget a little hard hat for Bubba.
Taking pictures.
I'll be here in spirit.
No, Gavin.
I'll just came back from a long plane flight.
The design, and I don't have it with me, the design that they did for the stickers for the hard hats that are sent to this project, are pretty
Oh,
cool.
exciting.
So the contractors and the architects were excited about the design. They said it was one of the funner ones that they've done, and they liked the Grizzly, and it kind of surprised us. They didn't ask our opinion. They said, "Here's our design. What do you think?" So it's pretty cool.
We all need to be matching or what?
We're gonna,
We're good.
I have that gray, long sleeve stuff.
Oh, here's the-
We'll get you matching before then.
we'll be fine.
We'll get you matching.
Come on, Kelly.
All right, anything else? And I move we adjourn.
Second.
Move second. All those in favor say aye.
Aye.
All those opposed. We are adjourned. Thank you all.
That's quick.
So.
Whoa.
Turns it off.
And thank you for moving the meeting in here so we didn't cook over there.
Are we done?